In a world where finance is increasingly globalized and where it is clear financial systems can make or break an economy, governments face a daunting challenge to build better, more stable, more inclusive financial systems. As a partner in meeting that challenge, the Toronto Centre is there. Created in 1998 by the Government of Canada, World Bank, and the Schulich School of Business, it was established after the Asian financial crisis, and it has this as its vision: a world where financial systems are stable, sustainable, and accessible to all.
The technology is out there.
Stefan Ingves is more of an expert on financial crisis than perhaps he would like.
It's a little bit like firefighting. It's scary in the beginning, but if you've done it many times before, you get used to it.
Ingves had already dealt with 2 multi-country financial crisis situations when he joined the Toronto Centre board. Today, he is governor of Riksbank, the Swedish central bank. He's also chair of the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision.
The Toronto Centre is training supervisors and central bankers based on real case studies, things that have happened in different parts of the world. And by doing the training in that particular way, you put supervisors in a better position than otherwise on the ground when it comes to dealing with some very, very difficult issues.
Recessions, depression.
World Bank veteran David Scott was a founding board member of Toronto Centre.
Supervisors really have the task of trying to make sure that financial system stays on track, continues to grow, continues to expand at a reasonable rate, reaching more people, reaching smaller firms, providing new products and services that are needed by the evolving economy. A lot falls on the supervisor's shoulders to make sure that happens without one day blowing up.
And board member Michael Hafman also spends time as a Toronto Centre instructor.
Yes, there are other organizations that deal with microfinance or microinsurance or banking supervision or securities regulation, but Toronto Centre has the breadth to really cover all of the industry sectors, and that can be very useful.
Keenly sensitive to these unique challenges, the Toronto Centre is a results-focused international training organization with a special emphasis on developing countries and emerging markets.
Since we started out in 1998 with one program. In 2014, we'll run somewhere between 65 and 70 programs. We have trained thousands of financial supervisors.
John Palmer was also there early in the Toronto Centre history. He and Ruth de Crevoy had lived through banking failures and financial upheavals in different parts of the globe.
It helps everybody when a country enhances its regulations and supervision and strengthens its financial system. It's less vulnerable to shocks, business can continue, and people can thrive.
The second option is a troubled bank that requires...
Today, those steps to financial stability are taken at Toronto Centre programs like this one in Stockholm, Sweden. Participants gathered in this city from 17 different countries for an intensive week focused on creating change. People who make a difference when they return home.
But it's okay. It has no problem.
Justine Bagenda is here from Uganda for her second training, having first attended more than 10 years ago. She and her fellow supervisors learn about crisis planning, identifying insolvency and liquidity problems, and how to communicate their vital role to leaders in their home countries.
The governor doesn't have time to read all 6-7 pages. You must be precise and concise. If it's a bank that is insolvent, you must come out and say this bank is insolvent. If it's illiquid, say it's illiquid, and then you give numbers.
Another veteran of Toronto Centre training is Demet Çanakçı, who was first trained in 2008 as a Turkish banking regulator.
So we had so many crises in the past, but we weren't ready for this. And also we didn't really have any contingency planning or anything like that.
Demet's Toronto Centre experience helped her and her colleagues put a plan in place. Turkey now has a contingency planning system that is a model for the region.
Yes, but look.
For Fernan Ulate, experiencing his first Toronto Centre training in Stockholm brings back his personal experience of financial upheaval.
So I remember when I was a kid, I had to suffer the 1998 financial crisis back in Colombia, and I saw how my friends' parents lose their jobs, lose their houses, and I mean, we have the possibility to minimize. We cannot prevent that to happen again, but we can minimize it, or we can try to train ourselves to deal with them more efficiently.
And beyond the concentrated training, nearly every Toronto Centre participant will tell you they also benefit from knowing each other.
I believe training is not just about getting knowledge, some information. It's also equally important to have to learn from each other.
And those who have traveled this road before couldn't agree more about the importance of global knowledge sharing and relationship building while the supervisors carry out their important and often challenging jobs where strength of character matters.
And what's remarkable to me is, despite these obstacles, how many financial supervisors carry on, try to do the right thing, try to achieve better outcomes for the people in their countries. I've met some really remarkable, principled people who are working against obstacles that we can only imagine.
The effects on the other banks should not be that low.
And with its ongoing programs, Toronto Centre hopes to be even more relevant moving forward.
Given that banking is becoming more and more global in one way or the other, because it's easy to move money around, then to have supervision in terms of lonely islands, that just won't work. So in the end, the more cross-border banking you have, the more cross-border supervision you're going to have to deal with one way or the other. And the better it is then to get used to discussing these things with colleagues all over the world.
Toronto Centre, connecting, teaching, and empowering the supervisors and central bankers of today and tomorrow to become leaders and agents of change.